life is a series of mentors. I went on from there, and I had one great teacher, and that's all you need is one really great teacher in school that makes you feel really special. And then I had a mentor who owned a corner store in my neighborhood, and he would teach me and explain to me, his business tactics. And then my mother ended up having a boyfriend who I call my stepfather, who was actually of the Jewish faith, and he taught me that love doesn't come in a color or a gender, and that for me to be very proud of my culture, but don't be anti anything else and respect everybody. So I think that gave me a broader look at life, and I never walked in the room with a chip on my shoulder. I also never thought anybody else was better than me, but I never thought anybody had it better than me too, because people of all colors have challenges in life, dreams and aspirations. So those things all led me, to be the man that I am, and I'm very happy of those experiences.
Yeah. And what got you into or being interested into the fashion world, into clothing world?
Well, it was this new music that was coming out of the Bronx right around 1982, 83. It was called, rap music, and it made its way into Queens, where I lived. And his music was amazing. It was fascinating. Before that, I would listen to music, great people, like, of course, rest in peace, David Bowie and Rolling Stones and Donna Summer, Stevie Wonder, Barry White. But all these people had this beautiful way of singing. They had this orchestra and everything else. And they touched on some of the political issues in the world. But this music that was coming out of the Bronx named rap, it was kind of like our version of Twitter today, I always say. It was like a disruptive technology, because I started to hear about other kids, their hopes and their dreams, their aspirations, the plights of the neighborhood, things that I wouldn't be able to see on the news. And they were putting it in a rhythmic form, and it was starting to educate us. And it came with a way not only to listen to music, but a way to walk, talk, and even dress.
Yeah.
And you felt like you were part of this society if you wore your Adidas with fat laces on, or you knew how to break dance. And that's where I sort of find my identity as a young man. So that's really where fashion started.
Right.
With me. I wouldn't know till I was about 12 years old. I wouldn't know till probably about another 10 years, 15 years, that maybe we should all do something that we love.
Right.
I tried everything else.
Yeah.
But I never thought about fashion. It's kind of like, you bust your butt to go and work and make a living, and then you go out and on the weekends you kind of snowboard and do all stuff like that, but you never thought about busting your butt building snowboard or snowboarding and making money.
Right. Like Rob Dyrdek, your buddy Rob Dyrdek.
Exactly. Yeah. Rob's in the book as well, of course.
Yeah, that's interesting. So how old were you when you sold your first article of clothing?
How old was I? How old was I? It was I know the date. I know exactly the date. It was 1989, Good Friday, 3:00 in the afternoon, 37 degrees outside. I stood outside the Coliseum Mall in 1989, so I was 20 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. 20 years old.
20 years old.
When did you have? How old were you when you said you had the passion for?
I had the passion at 10, 11, 12. I had a passion for fashion earlier on in my life prior to that as well, but it was really my mother was dressing me because we didn't, not really when I was 4 or 5 or 6, because we didn't have enough money to go buy clothes, so she would sew them.
Interesting.
Sometimes the pocket would be hanging up in the back somewhere, but it was okay.
So what gave you? When did you decide that you had the permission to go create your own things or sew them in the basement and then go sell them? What gave you that, belief in yourself that you could create this?
You know what? Again, like most of us start, there was no belief that I could do it, but I remember walking into a store, and I started to see cross colors everywhere, and then I walked in the store, and I saw this picture of this guy who looked like a young Mike Tyson hanging off a pair of jeans, and it was Carl Kanai. And then it just hit me. I thought prior to that, we always thought that you had to be from Italy and France to design. You had to be older and like a the guys with the tape around their neck, the tailors, right? Sure. And so, or whatever the fashion designer had looked like in those days. And I thought I'm just supposed to buy from them. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that's amazing. Okay, no problem. Then I'm watching a De La Soul video, I remember, and seeing them wearing these hats. It almost looked like a ski cap, but it has like a tie on the top, and I couldn't find that hat anywhere in Queens. I finally find one uptown Manhattan. I pay for the hat. I come home. I show my mother. I said, "Look, Ma, I paid. I always say a joke. I paid $6 in gas, $900 in tolls, and $20 for the hat. Check this out." And she goes, "That's a piece of crap. But Damon, I can show you how to sew hats like that, so you can sew as many as you want, so you can wear them. You don't have to do that. So go get $40 worth of fabric. I go to the store, get $40 worth of fabric. I come home. I give my mother the stuff to sew the hats, and she says, "I'm not sewing this. You're sewing this." I said, "Oh, crap, now I got to work at this." I sew the hats, and then all of a sudden, I have all these hats and only one head. Because it's not like I was too stupid or I wasn't thinking. Thank God. I didn't buy $40 worth of different fabric. I bought $40 worth of the same fabric.
You only needed one maybe every 3 years.
Yeah. So anyway, that's when it happened. That's when I went out and sold those hats in the outside on that Good Friday, and I sold $800 worth of hats in 1 hour.
Wow.
And that's when it just snapped. I just said to myself, wait a minute. I made this with my own hands. I went and sold this to individuals, and nobody was in my way. I didn't have to get a check from a boss. Nobody told me when or to come to work or go to work. I can't get fired from this because of my color, creed, or whatever the case is. I'm responsible for what's happening here, and I will either fail because every decision I make, or I'll succeed because every decision I make.
Was that the first time that you made money on your own as an entrepreneur, or were you?
No. I made money on my own and lost money on my own as an entrepreneur. I started my first business. It took me a long time to really decide what I want to do and what was my first business. It took me forever to decide my first business. But my first business, I finally decided what I wanted to do when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
It took me forever, right? I was selling pencils in school.
Wow.
And then I would go ahead and sell candy, and then when it snowed, I would shovel snow in the winter, rake leaves in the fall, and then I remember when I used to shovel snow, I used to go, and kids would want to help me because I started getting everybody in the blocks that I wanted to. I would travel about 3 miles and take care of it. Kids would want to help me, so I would tell them, "Okay, no problem. Here's what you're going to do. If you're going to help me, I'm going to let you work. I'm going to give you a couple. Let's split the money with you. But you got to do a spring cleanup for free so we can go back into spring." And then I would go to the owners of the house and say, "Well, everybody else in the block, if they shovel your snow, they're charging you $3. If I shovel your snow 3 times during the winter, I'm going to give you a free spring cleanup." So I was leveraging all those little guys in the neighborhood.
I love it.
Ah, man, that was a great business.
Now, when did you realize that you kind of, the $800 first day might have been a great first day, but when did you realize, like, okay, I have something actually that is consistently getting results? I mean, was it just easy for you after that? For the next year, you were just making $800 every day, and then it just kept growing? Or was there like, oh, there's some dry spells here, or I need to change where I'm promoting it?
Like anything in business, it was always a dry spell here, a dry spell there. But in all reality, my friends and I, we love selling the hats. Why? Because there was a reason to talk to girls on the street.
There you go.
Right?
That's why we do a lot of things.
Of course
right?
we do. Everything, right? If we didn't have women in the world, we'd all be walking around barefoot and just, no teeth, right?
Exactly.
But then I would start going to the Black Expos, where there was like a basic flea market on the road, and I would try to sell shirts there. Why? Because girls were there.
Right.
But also, we were really passionate about what we were doing, and we started getting that high when we sold stuff at a Black Expo, and then we go to another one and we see somebody wearing it. I go, wow.
That's pretty cool.
And that's when they came back and started saying, "Man, I tell everybody about this shirt, and they asked me for it, so I need to buy 3 now because I got to buy it for everybody." And we started saying, wow. Right? And it just became so exciting. I would have normally paid to go to the Black Expo, to go around and buy stuff or see stuff. And then, we happen to live in Hollis, Queens. There's a lot of music artists in Hollis, Queens. Obviously, Salt and Pepper, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Tribe Called Quest. A lot of them come from there. We didn't really know them, but we knew all their friends. But then all of a sudden we heard, we were saying, "Well, can we get something in a video?" And they would go, "Yeah, come on down." And we go down to the video, and there's craft services. It's free to eat. As much food as you want. You get to see somebody like LL Cool J performing a song. There's video vixens running around.
Girls everywhere.
I would have paid to go there. Meanwhile, I'm going there going, "Hey, put on a shirt." And they put on a shirt, and then I'd say, "Man, I don't have any money to I have a small company, so I really can't afford to lose that shirt. Can I have it back?
Really?
Yeah, and they
You
would
would
give it
take it
back.
back?
And they would give it back. Yeah.
Wow.
There's only one rapper who never gave the shirt back to me. Old Dirty Bastard, of course.
Okay, awesome.
If you expect to get anything back from a man named Old Dirty Bastard, there's bigger issues.
Exactly. It sounds like, what you did. When was this? What year was
This was well. Honestly, I opened Fubu in '89. I closed it three times because I ran out of capital from '89 to '92. So the story really goes from '89 to around '96.
Okay, cool. So 20 years ago, you were essentially the true branding expert who was leveraging the Instagram influencers of today. You were leveraging the music stars, the MTV stars,
Yes,
and getting that social media out there on MTV,
sure.
as opposed to on Instagram, which is what brands are doing today. They're trying
Correct.
to find the top influencers and get their clothing on them.
Yeah, we always call Fubu the first hashtag of clothing.
There
so,
you go.
Yeah.
I like it. What would you say was the biggest challenge once you started to really take off and grow?
Yeah.
Obviously, as a small business owner, when a trend hits and everyone wants your product, how did you handle that, and what was the biggest challenge?
Scalability was very hard because it was how do I go and finance and underwrite these things? Where will I get the capital? What's the turnaround time? And I didn't have any financial intelligence at the time.
Right.
So my journey.
You could sell and you could hustle and
I could
promote.
sell, I could hustle, but my journey, I almost failed and lost everything several times throughout that journey because I just didn't know how to use the tool of money.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to try to acquire all that knowledge within the same time. How do I acquire the knowledge of branding, marketing, distribution, manufacturing, warehousing, shipping, financial intelligence, customer support, return on goods, consumption, you know what I mean? It's so hard. So of course, I had to start leveraging as well and creating a bunch of strategic relationships because I knew I needed that. I knew I needed that because, listen, when you tell somebody to stop smoking, a couple of times and after the 10th time, they know they already have a problem with smoking. They don't want to listen to you. Listen, forget it. I'm not even going to address it. I'm going to start smoking. When you have a business, you have to answer the call or you're closed. Right? So you have to plug the dam. And I knew I had to plug the dam. So I started just creating a lot of strategic relationships, and that's actually the power of broke. Because it is the fact that, if I would have had money, when I went to those video sets, I would have paid the director, I would have paid the producer, I would have paid the rapper, everybody else, right? If you gave me $20,000 at that time, and I heard that LL Cool J will wear my stuff for $5,000, and the director wants $5,000 to wear it, they're getting the money.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. And they're going to wear it. But I got into 30, 40 videos with $0, right? Because I had no way to do it, and I had nothing to lose. You couldn't take anything from me. I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So
you couldn't even give me your shirt.
Right.
You took it back.
I took it back, right? And I said, I got you later.
Yeah,
right? Old Dirty Bastard said, "You got me now." But when you're working with the power of broke, it does a couple of things. Number one, it makes sure that you learn the process yourself. You can't afford to hire anybody else. So all those people out there who pay $40,000 for a website when it really costs $5,000, right?
Or you can leverage it by bartering or something.
Whatever the case is, right? So you have to learn the process. And what happens during that period of time of learning the process is that when and if and hopefully you get to the point that you are successful, nobody can tell you lies. You can't have somebody say, well, I'm not going to tell you about shipping because, you're firing me and I got to go work it out yourself. I said, get the hell out of the way. I've been doing this for 8 years myself, right? You get and you learn the process, number one. Number two is because you don't have a lot of capital, you focus on the only thing that you can do. You don't drown in opportunity. You don't take a bunch of money and go, we should try a bunch of stuff. Here you go. Here's 10,000 here, 10,000 here, 10,000 here, 10,000 here.
Go.
Yeah, you go. All right, what are we going to do with this hat right now? So that's the process. And that process is very, very important. Also, you learn and it brings out the character of who you have around you when you operate the power of broke.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you're busy, let's open a business today. Let's go take a $100,000 loan. Well, What happens when the money goes away? Because when I didn't have anything, people worked with me for free. And I saw who rose to the challenge. I saw who jumped ship, right? I saw who was problem solvers and problem creators. And that's the process of activating the power broke. Because to tell you the truth, the people who activate the power broke more than anybody else are the people who are successful, because that's how they stay successful.
If you want to learn how to make more money and master money in your life, then check out this video right here.
Skip a meal, but don't skip reading. He said read 30 minutes a day. I don't give a damn what it is. And today, I don't mean internet crap. I mean, read something, a biography, read something that's a strategy, read something that's going to change your life. And the second thing I tell people is feeding your mind's great, but you got to also strengthen your body.